Welcome back. We're keeping Dr. John Deloney here because we have so many more questions. Thanks for staying with us.
You bet, man.
Now, there was a part of your book, several parts of your book that really meant a lot to me. One was your analogy of carrying our stories like bricks in a backpack.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So we all know about the word trauma, right? And we think about trauma, we think of the big injury, the death of a loved one, the car wreck, even the divorce. My whole world was turned upside down as a science nerd, a mental health science nerd, when a friend of mine who's a trauma researcher told me that trauma can be acute, right? It can be big and it can be explosive, but it can also be small and cumulative. And we call it big T and little t trauma. And so the analogy that I came up with is if you're a young child and your dad just leaves you, or you're born into a life of extreme poverty, or somebody in your neighborhood continues to bully you and treat you differently just because it's something stupid, like you look different than they do, right? The color of your skin is different. That's like them dropping a cinder block in your backpack, right? That's big stuff. That's big trauma that's going to cascade through your life. But if you're just a pudgy kid and you come down the stairs and your mom looks at you and says, "Oh, honey, that shirt makes you look pudgy," and you don't want your friends to laugh at you, do you? And you say, "No, no, 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 no." And she said, "Let's go change our clothes." That's a little pebble in your backpack. It's not a big trauma, but it's a little pebble. And over time, a little pebble in your backpack every day, every day, every day. I'm outsourcing. I'm only going to be of value if I look right. I'm only going to be of value if I've got the right body type. Or I'm only going to be of value if I get the right grades. Over time, the weight of those backpacks is the same, whether it's full of little rocks or it's full of 2 cinder blocks. The weight is the same. And when we look at ourselves at 25 or 35, and we've grown up in poverty, we've grown up in evil racist systems, we've grown up with people treating us less than, or we've grown up just thinking, it's my job to make sure everybody has peace. It's my job to make sure everybody's okay. I'll take my needs and just shove them down. We find ourselves at 25 or 35, and we wonder why our marriages are a mess. We wonder why we get passed over for promotions, or why we're always late, or why we're struggling with attention issues. It's because we're carrying so much stuff.
Wow. And to do that, do you need to often see a professional, or is that something you could do yourself?
I think it's both and. I think if you've experienced significant acute trauma, you've got major loss, you've got significant trauma in your childhood, yeah, you're going to need to go see somebody. That's really important. And your body will continue to solve for those traumas for the arc of your life. So you can be 65 years old and your body is still trying to keep you safe from things that were happening when you were 6, 7, and 8 years old. And then there's other things that just having a community of people who move together, who laugh together, who grieve and cry together, people that I can count on and they can count on me, that's often over time healing in and of itself. So it's both and, but I don't think anybody loses anything by calling a counselor and sitting down and saying, "All right, let's get started."
Now, we only have a short while left, but I want to end up with your thoughts about, or your discussion about how we are in control of our thoughts. Nobody else can, and we control the movie that goes on in our mind. It's not put there, or maybe put there, but we can change that story, and how powerful that is for change.
Yeah, if you look around at a lot of the chaos going on today, it's a lot of people trying to control a whole lot of other people's behaviors and control a lot of other people's morality and choices and things. We can't do that. The only things on planet Earth we can control are our actions, and we know that, right? I can put the donut down, I can go for a run, I can be nicer to my kids. But we often don't know that we can also control our thoughts. We can't control that lightning bolt when it pops in there and it reminds us of a hard thing, or a challenging thing, or an imaginary thing that's going to happen in the future, right? What if the dollar evaporates, and what if Bitcoin goes bust, and what happens if my wife leaves me? Those thoughts pop in, and then we have a choice. Am I going to meditate on that thought? Am I going to think of it over and over and over again? Or am I going to stop those thoughts in their tracks, and I'm going to think of something else? I get to choose what comes next in my mind, and it's something you practice over time. I stunk at it for years and years and years, and sometimes when I'm tired or I've been eating a steady diet of gummy candies and pizza, which I'm prone to do sometimes, it's a little bit more tough to be in control. But I often will walk through the living room and my wife will just hear me go, "Nope, not doing it," and she'll just roll her eyes because she knows a thought just popped in about something that happened a long time ago or some imagined challenge in the future. and I'm stopping that train before it leaves the station.
Yeah, I think you said in your book, there are times when you walk in the other room and they all know what you're doing. You're yelling at yourself, you're having this conversation, saying, get the thought out of here, and then you come back.
That's right. I'm just stopping it. I'm stopping it before it leaves the station. Once it leaves the station, then my heart rate's going to pick up. My body's going to dump cortisol and adrenaline. My body's going to gear up for a fight. And I'm going to stop that thing before it gets going.
Yeah, I could see in today's world how especially hard this is with teenagers, young adults being bombarded with, they already have these stories and then they're seeing people more beautiful than them, more smart than them, the whole package, and it's got to be tough. I wish we had 3-4 more shows to go through with this. This is great information. Where can people learn more about you? Your book is right behind you. I urge everyone to get it. But tell us where we could find you.
I want to thank you guys for your hospitality. Thank you so much for putting good, positive messages out into the world. You can find me at johndeloney.com, DELONY, and you can follow me at Instagram at John Deloney, where usually I'm telling people to get off their phones.
I'm actually following him, and I think you are too.
Yes, I have. Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank you so much.
much.
Thank you. We'll be back with more Finding a Good Life after one final break.